Thank you all for joining us to be a part of this webinar. For our agenda today, I'm going to overview just a calendar for the entire Matchmakers event. I know there's a lot of questions out there about when Matchmakers open, how to request those meetings, and when Matchmakers are at conference. So I will be able to go over everything so everyone's on the same page. Marjorie will then go through the My Business Matches system, which many of you have already been in, and she will be able to answer any questions about setting up your profile, putting in your codes, what to do when the Matchmakers do open, including requesting and accepting meetings. Logan's then going to go through her own experience with Matchmakers, as well as give you a quick overview on pitching your company and developing an elevator speech. And finally, Melissa's going to go through the corporate supplier diversity perspective and give her background of what she looks for out of Matchmakers, just to give you a more rounded view of the event. And at the end, we're happy to open it up to Q&A from the entire audience. So for Matchmakers, as you all know, when you're registered for conference, you are going to receive 2 emails from me. One of the emails is going to be the B2B Matchmakers. That event is separate and distinct, and I'll talk to that in a broader conference webinar. But you then will receive a Matchmaker email on how to register your business for the Matchmaker events with our corporate supplier diversity representatives. So right now is the time to go in, register in My Business Matches, and build out your profile. In your profile, it's really important to include as much information as possible, because when we were creating Matchmakers, we've listened to a lot of our corporate partners on what they look to get out of these Matchmaker meetings. There's a lot of different networking events at our conference, but our Matchmaker meetings are really designed to match corporate supplier diversity representatives with businesses depending on their own parameters to make sure that these meetings are really meaningful. So all of our corporate partners do it differently. Some of them will meet with anyone, and that's really their prerogative of kind of looking through all of the LGBTVEs and choosing who they want to meet with throughout the day. There's some corporate supplier diversity representatives that go for a really targeted approach. They might have an upcoming RFP or know what their purchasing schedule is for the next year, and they're going to go in with specific codes and meet with suppliers depending on that need from their corporate perspective. So I know there's a lot of questions about not matching up with some of the corporate partners that you want to meet with, and that's really just kind of how Matchmakers work for this event. And what I can say is our aim is to make these meetings as meaningful as possible, and that's really why we've set it up and designed it this way. There's also 5 to 10 different networking avenues that you can explore through conference to make sure that you get in front of a corporate partner if you really want to meet with them and have that conversation. So right now is the time to go in. Sorry, was that someone?
Natalie, I don't know if this is appropriate. This is Bill Hooker calling. So I got here a few minutes late. My apologies. Do you want to reserve questions for after you give your presentation or during it?
Yeah, if you could please, you can send your questions to Cameron below. There's just a lot of participants on the line.
Sure.
So everyone can send their emails to cschuty@ngLCC.org, and I'll make sure and go ahead and answer them. So now's the time for suppliers to go in and build their profile in My Business Matches. On July 18th is when the Matchmakers will open. When you log into your profile on July 18th, it's going to look a little different. You are now going to see all the corporate partners that you've matched with depending on what they put in their profile and what you put in your profile. And this is the time that you can request 5 meetings with those corporate partners that you've matched with. What you're going to do is you're going to request those meetings, and our corporate partners throughout the next 2 weeks are going to go in and either accept or decline those meetings. As corporate partners accept or decline your meetings, you can go back and request more meetings as long as you haven't gone over that 5 limit. Corporate partners at the same time are going to go in and request their own meetings if they don't see the suppliers that they want to meet with. So it's kind of a back and forth, and you want to just kind of go in and make sure you're checking the system every couple of days and seeing where it goes. I can also let you know that we add corporate partners all the time. So as much as we try to get everyone into the system before the 18th, it's usually throughout those 2 weeks that we really do get every corporate partner in there and start matching them. So don't be discouraged if you don't see exactly who you want or you don't have as many meetings as you want. We really are, it's kind of a flexible system as we work with our corporate partners to get into My Business Matches. On August 4th, we're going to email both our buyers and suppliers and let you know that it will be the final day to request meetings. So hopefully that will be a good push for everyone to go in one last time, look at their schedule, and request any last-minute meetings if it is available. That's when me and Marjorie and My Business Matchers are going to go in and finalize scheduling. A lot of this has to do with some of our corporate partners let us know who they want to meet with, and we kind of fill in their schedule with any missing meetings that they have available and make sure that every LGBTE gets a Matchmaker meeting. And this is in the goal to have final schedules available for our business owners on August 12th. This is important to us because we want you to know who you're meeting with before you get to conference. So then you have a week to look up the corporate partner that you're meeting with, do some research on them, and really tailor your meeting according to the corporate partner you're meeting with. On site at conference, August 23rd to 24th, there will be a My Business Matches representative on site for troubleshooting. This is also going to help because you can go in and register and pick up your schedule on site beforehand just to make sure that we have answered all questions that everybody has. We did this for the first time last year, and it was really a great kind of support system for our certified businesses and corporate partners. On August 23rd will be our business-to-business matchmakers, which, as I said, is a completely different event. It will be different communications, and I can overview that at a different time, but I just wanted to differentiate because I know there's been a lot of questions about the two events. Our corporate partner, Matchmakers, is August 25th throughout the day, and that is when you will meet with your corporate partners that you've been matched with. So there haven't been any questions sent to Cameron yet. So I'm going to go ahead and move on and have Marjorie kind of go through the system and give you an overview of the My Business Matches platform.
Okay, everyone. Can we all see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, fantastic. So I really quickly just logged off of the profile, but hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining the call, as Natalie stated. So I believe everybody has already established a supplier profile for NGLCC's event on August 23rd through the 26th. So this page should look familiar. If not, the link to register will be nglcc.mybusinessmatches.com. So once you establish a registration on our website, go ahead and click on the menu box and then click on login to be able to access your profile. So we'll really quickly just going to go ahead and put in the test account that I created here. Fantastic. So this is what your screen should look like once you're logged into your profile. You'll notice that your registration type is set to a supplier. Now, there is a profile completion score here. This basically just is an FYI for yourself to know how much of the information you have already placed into your profile. Now, this can be updated simply by clicking on the update button here. You'll be able to see all of the information that you have placed in your profile during your registration. And then here you can also just update some information as well. Now, please note that the score does not prohibit you from confirming or selecting any meetings. It's just for your basic knowledge for you to be able to know how much of a completion your profile is. In addition to that, all of the fields here, whether they're marked with a red asterisk or not, are all part of the 100% score. So right now we're seeing that most of these questions were not required during the registration. However, if we were to go ahead and start answering these questions here and, selecting stuff as we see, once we go ahead and save this to our profile, that score on the front of the dashboard, that should reflect differently from 36%. Probably not Let me see, what else do I need to do? And let's do one of these. Okay, and we're going to hit save. There we go. So that score went up to 40% now that we answered those questions. From here, what we can do is on the profile tab on the left-hand navigation bar, if you click on this, you can also edit your profile. You're able to view your profile, how the buyers would be able to see your profile from their perspective, from their side. You're also able to manage your files. More importantly, what we are focusing on here is adding and updating your business categories. So by clicking here, the system will show you automatically what categories you selected on your initial registration. If you decide that you have additional business categories that you want to add, you can simply go ahead and do so by using the drop-down menu. You can select by specific NAICS code numbers, or you can also search by specific keywords, just the same way that you did during the registration. Once all of that has been entered into your profile, go ahead and click on the Save button, and that'll automatically save into your profile. So following that, we're going to go ahead into the tab labeled Meeting Maker. Now this will show you the matches that your profile has generated according to the business categories that you selected. So at this point, there are 3 matches. By scrolling down, we're able to see the 3 test accounts that I've created for this profile. So right here, placeholder number 6 is the name of the company of the buyer that we are matched to. There is a score of 100%. By scrolling over this, you're able to see which of those opportunities you met according to what was required by the specific buyer. So in this case, we reached a 100% score because of their requirements were CPA, ITIL, and 8A certified as well. So then here you're able to see what the opportunity title is. So for this one, they have an opportunity under Computer Designs and Web Services. Okay. Now scrolling a little bit further down, we're also able to see that there are multiple categories here. This just means that for this test account, the SBA Contracting Office, they have selected more than one business category in their profile that we actually match up to. So in this profile, we have 2 scores. For auto repair, we've met all of the requirements, which gives us a 100% score. And then for computer designs, we have a 50% score. Now here you'll also notice that it is going to show you which requirements you did not meet that the SBA Contracting Office or that particular buyer has requested for this business category. And then following down, it's the same situation. So we have a 34%. Now this one, we missed a little bit more information, requirements that were requested from this specific buyer. Now, if you're happening to look at your matches and you see that maybe, you see that you don't fall under one of their specific requirements, but you are certified, like let's say if my profile, if I notice that I am a small disadvantaged business, I'm actually able to update my profile immediately to have that score reflected. Now, since we are stating that small disadvantaged businesses, let's go ahead and just add that to our profile really quickly here. So if we go to Edit Profile, and we'll scroll down to where all of that is. Oh, not too far. So we're going to select that we are a small disadvantaged business, and we're going to go ahead and save this information. So once we are back into our Meeting Maker, for that 34%, you'll now notice that that score has been reflected to a 50%, and it's still showing us what requirements we are not qualified under. Now, again, this score is just for, knowledge for you to understand how much of a match you are according to the requirements specifically placed by the buyer. This does not prohibit you from requesting a meeting or anything of that sort. This is just, prior knowledge prior to requesting a meeting. Now, if you were to decide to request a specific meeting, you can do 2 options from here. So you can view their full profile, or you can request a meeting. So in this case, we'll go ahead and click on Request Meeting. And then here you're able to see that you can select up to 10 potential meeting times for one specific buyer. So as Natalie mentioned, there are up to five meetings that you are able to select, meaning 5 different buyers that you're able to select up to. But each of those buyers, you have a limit of 10 meeting requests to be sent. So here are all the matchmaking times. You can click on the little X to make it a check mark, and you could select up to 10. So right now we'll go ahead and select 3, and we'll send these requests to this particular buyer. And here the system will confirm that your meeting request has been sent. So now instead of having 3 matches, the system will reflect 2, being that you've already sent a request to one of those. Now you are able to manage your request as well. From here, you can view the profile. You can see that the meeting request is still pending, or you can cancel the meeting request here. So that basically concludes my section. Does anybody have any questions so far?
So we did have one question, and I can help answer it. Someone was asking about what are the list of core competency and strengths that corporate partners are looking for. This is kind of a difficult question because every corporate partner is different. What I can say is that you just want to reflect in your profile exactly what you do and how you do it well. So just build out your profile according to your business. Make sure that it really is complete, and that will just make sure that you get matched with individuals that really want to meet with you. Okay, well, thanks so much, Marjorie. I'm sure there might be questions at the end, but I really appreciate you going through the new system. It looks really great, and please, if you have any questions on the call, make sure to email Cameron, and she'll be able to get them over to me.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so I'm going to switch over. One moment. Okay, so we are going to move on to Logan.
Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Logan Wick. I am the founder and CEO of Power of 2 Promotions. We can put your logo on anything, and we give over 20% of our profits back to charity every year. We have been a certified LGBTE since 2014, and as well as women-owned and minority-owned. And I have to say that NGLCC is always been my favorite conference, so you're definitely in for a treat if you've never been to one. And if you have been to others, this is definitely the one to go to. So, again, been certified since 2014, and that was my first one. Sometimes the first one is a little bit overwhelming because you don't know what to expect, and that's probably why you're on the call. So you're in the right place. When you're signing up for Matchmakers, just know to be open, meaning be really diligent in who you want to have meetings with, but also be open to how the meeting may or may not go. Because as was mentioned before, sometimes the corporate partners, they're looking to create new relationships or meet new people. They're not necessarily ready for a new supplier yet to bring in, but they're wanting to see who's out there, or maybe they have an upcoming need in the far future, far for us as business owners, it seems like far away, a few years away. But that's how they work. They want to start to meet new people and create those relationships. So really go with, as you can see, my first tip is create those relationships. So when you're having those meetings, it is definitely, do not expect to go there and make a deal. It's not going to happen. It's pretty rare. And those that does happen with, they have probably already created that relationship 3 or 4 years ago and already participated and have been vetted and all of that stuff. It just doesn't happen, with the snap of the fingers at the conference. Again, it's really to create those relationships. They're trying to find those business owners that are in line with their needs and wants and desires, that they are the best in their class, that they will serve their corporate partner needs the best. That's what you're there to do, is put your best foot forward, present yourself well, and make sure that you know who you're talking to. So when you're going through and requesting meetings, make sure that you know about them and you have an idea of what their business is, or you should have more than an idea, but you need to really have a targeted focus. And again, when you do get those meetings, it's exciting, but I have been to a couple, just be forewarned, where they were really just about trying to meet new people. They didn't really have a need for my services or my company, and it probably will never happen. But you keep a smile on your face and you just say, okay, great, because you never know who they could possibly introduce you to. So, again, it's about those relationships. You want to be a person that people want to know, like, and trust. That's the first step to gaining new business with anybody. Everybody wants to do business with somebody they know, like, and trust. So the getting to know you part, that's what conference is about, and getting to like you. Be memorable. So you can either do a really great pitch or have consultative questions for them. So when you go and you do get that matchmaker, I would suggest probably a good combination between the two. If you can do a quick pitch because, again, you're not sure what it is that they're looking for, and if you give them a broad overview, then they know where to start the conversation. And then as you go deeper into the conversation, have good questions for them. So good questions would be something like, for me, I'm in the promotional products industry. I can put your logo on anything. So I would say we provide a concierge level of service, and we find that most large companies, they really appreciate when we save them time, and we work best with those groups that don't have a lot of time and they wear a lot of hats, such as administrative assistants, event marketing teams, and HR groups. And that's kind of my consultative approach of, does that fit with you? Is that a need that you guys might have? So you're making sure to ask questions before you're just giving them all of the information of everything that you do. You want to be useful and value add and make sure you're zeroing in on the parts that they need and what they're looking for. Again, do your homework ahead of the conference. So when you're looking at these matchmakers and trying to set up meetings, make sure that you have done as much research as you can. Google is the best place to go to for that. Reach out via LinkedIn if that might be a possibility, or reach out to your network and see if you know somebody that works their type of thing and if they might have an opening for your needs. So like if you're doing IT staffing, for instance, that is an area where you should know if it's one of the largest companies in the world that uses IT staffing. Do they have a sole source that they go to? Do they have other openings? And you should do a little bit of homework so that you have an idea of where you might fit in within their umbrella and work for them. And again, bring value. And just really hammering this home, make sure you know who you want to do business with ahead of time. There might be, you don't want to go ask for a meeting and it turns out they're a competitor or they have a different arm of their company that actually does what you do. Then you've kind of wasted your own time and their time, and it's confusing for everybody and not very fulfilling for you. And you want to make sure that you're using your time slots as best as possible so that you don't miss an opportunity with a company that you could have potentially done business with, rather than a company that, turns out they have a whole nother segment, sister company that does exactly what you do. Those are my best tips. I'll go into the elevator pitch tips. I'm not going to we could go into this for a really long time, and I'm sure you all know that, but I just want to hit the high level points here because it's really important. I've seen quite a few people go kind of unprepared and they're not sure what to do. Make sure that you practice ahead of time and know what an elevator pitch is. An elevator pitch is, as the tale goes, basically it's what you would say to somebody who is like, oh my goodness, they would be the best client and that would make my whole year or decade. If I was in an elevator with them for 30 to 45 seconds, that's what you would say. That's what an elevator pitch is. You don't have any more time than that. You have max 45 seconds and then the elevator ride is done. So you have to make sure you get in, you do it quick, and you are memorable. You should have different pitches for different audiences. So that means that your pitch for another business owner, LGBTBE, is going to be different than what it is to a corporate business partner. So you've kind of already heard mine, but like mine to all of you as LGBTBEs would be more along the lines of, hi, my name is Logan. I'm the founder and CEO of Power of Two Promotions. We can put your logo on anything. We give over 20% of our profits back to charity every year. We provide a concierge level of service, and we save you time. What that really means is, instead of you spending hours and hours and hours trying to find the right gift that's going to get you into the door to your perfect client, you tell us what your needs are, what your budget is, and then we come up with ideas for you, and then we handle it from start to finish. So that's my pitch to other LGBTBEs, and then I have my pitch to corporate business partners. Very different, right? What another business owner wants to hear is going to be different than the corporate business partners. And I will tell you at conference, the great thing about that is you have a whole huge, that's the biggest population is other business owners or business principals. And they're a great source of business too, because you know that you have we're an affinity group, right? We know we've got things in common, and we're about equality, and go for it. That's who you want to be in business with, and see how you might be able to use their services and how they might be able to use yours. So make sure you have two specific pitches, and always know who your audience is. The pitch should always be purposeful and engaging and interesting. Again, that goes back to knowing your audience. And so the engaging part, like mine starts off with, I give over 20% of my profits back to charity. A lot of people find that interesting. For those that don't, that's fine. And they're probably not my ideal client either if they don't find that interesting. So it's a good way of both of us feeling each other out. Now, the pitch, what it should not be, is a long, rambling life story of how it is that you came to be in front of them at that moment in time, or what it is you had for breakfast leading up to, lunch and now what you're planning on having for dinner. It should be succinct and to the point, and do not list everything you can or would do to get the business. That's not the place for it. We'll go to the next slide. Oh, also, the pitch should not be asking for the business right then. That is not the point of a pitch. It's an opening conversation to see what can be done and what the next steps would be and what the interest level is. So you need to know what your goal is, what is the setting, and who's the audience. So we know what the setting is. This is that conference, so this is a place where everybody is there to network. The audience is going to be either fellow LGBTBEs or corporate partners. There are, of course, different subsets within that. You've got some folks that are there, they're executive directors of different chambers, so on and so forth. But again, make sure you know who you're talking to before you really start to engage. You want to start off with being engaging or interesting. Some examples of that would be share a fun fact, or share with them what makes you unique or different. Again, my key differentiator is giving back. Yours might be maybe you made it to the Olympics, or make it something that is memorable again, and just try to think of something like that. Now, a key there is that you can also use some shock and awe, meaning you can do like an outrageous thing, like we've always delivered on time, never had a late delivery, or there was one time where I drove for 8 hours to make sure it got to a client, something like that. That could also be a good thing to add in there to be engaging and interesting. And always start off with, what does the listener want to hear? What's in it for them? You have to make it interesting to them, especially when you're talking to corporate partners. So if you have a unique selling proposition, everybody should know what their unique selling proposition is. What's the value add, right? What can you do for them? So examples of that, is there a way that you can save them money? Time is money. If you have the best, the best mousetrap, but you have to, instead of just saying it's the best new mousetrap, explain to them why it's the best new mousetrap. Again, what does it do for their bottom line, or does it encourage, employee retention? Something, again, that matters to them at the business owner or corporate level. And if you're having trouble trying to figure that out, maybe another way of thinking about that is explain to them how you can help them avoid a pain point. So meaning, do you have high turnover rate in your data entry group? Well, we alleviate that problem. We increase retention by 2,000% or whatever it may be. Again, turning it into, it's a pain point, and pain points make people listen, and people will do a lot of things to get out of that pain. If you're still struggling with what to say here, then you can always go to ask your best customers, your clients, how would they describe you? What do they value most about what it is that you do? And that way you can incorporate that into your pitch, and it's sometimes a lot of folks find that easier if they use other people's words. And how you would say that is, our clients say that we are the easiest to work with, we're the most creative, or we will do anything to get the job done, something along those lines. And I think I've got, yep. And again, throughout this, you want to make sure that you're using layman's terms. So that means don't use jargon, especially if you have your own industry jargon, unless you're 100% certain that the person you're talking to knows your industry jargon. Do not use it, because people hear jargon and they start to tune out, or it just kind of means nothing, right? Like you start using the word synergies and just these really kind of words that mean nothing concrete, but they sound really good. Sometimes when you string them together, again, you want to make sure to capture their interest and be really clear about what it is that you do. And have a call to action if it's appropriate, right? You should have already done your homework, and if you believe there's a true match and it seems to be interest on both sides, then you can ask for fellow owners, you can ask for a meeting or coffee. That's more appropriate in that situation. For corporate partners, I would say ask who's the best person to contact, because oftentimes the supplier diversity folks, they're not necessarily the ones that are truly the person that you would work with. They're the ones that are going to direct you to the right person. So if you feel like it's a good conversation that's gone well, then you can ask for who the best person is to contact. But again, be clear. At the conference, the goal is to not get business right there on the spot from corporate partners. It may be from other fellow business owners, but you go there to start a relationship. The goal is not to close right there. Start that relationship, start the dialogue, and remember that this is a marathon, not a sprint. Be in it for the long haul, so be the person that people want to know, like, and trust and do business with in the future. I think I've covered everything you wanted me to cover, right?
Yeah, thanks so much, Logan. This is wonderful. I've heard a lot about elevator pitches and these meetings, and honestly, I just want to call out two things. I love that you mentioned jargon. In the supplier diversity realm, we have so many acronyms that when I go home, my mom always thinks I'm speaking a different language. So I always have to remind myself that even the jargon that you don't necessarily think is industry speak is. And also just the call to action is really important, and knowing what that call of action is. So thank you so much, Logan. This is wonderful. I'm sure we'll have questions near the end, but thank you for going down into this.
My pleasure.
And next we have Melissa St. Clair.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melissa St. Clair, and I manage the Supplier Diversity Program at TIAA. You might know us as TIAA CREF. We dropped the CREF a few months ago, so good to know if you're meeting with us. We are a Fortune 100 financial services company focused mostly on the retirement space and the nonprofit field. I think Logan really shared some excellent insight, and there's going to be a lot of synergies between what she said and what I'm going to tell you. But all in all, just really great tips, and hopefully I can add to that when I tell you about what goes on in the corporate side of the house during this matchmaking process and those sessions. I prefer more of a targeted approach. I think every supplier diversity manager and corporate partner is a little bit different. But I like to keep my meetings pretty targeted. So prior to any conference where I'm attending matchmaking meetings, I contact my sourcing team, usually a month or two in advance, to see what upcoming opportunities or RFPs that they're working on in their specific area. So I've got a marketing sourcing manager. I've got an IT software a software sourcing manager. I've got someone that deals in the legal department. So I reach out to all the 30, 40 sourcing managers on my team to see what they're working on. Because this really helps me when I go into the system and, I'm requesting my meetings and who I want to meet with. So just to give you an example, during last year's conference, I knew that we had an opportunity to bid out our niche staffing supplier program in a few months. And so I was really interested in meeting with staffing firms. And then NGLCC did such a great job and got me some really great matchmaking meetings, and we were able to include 5 of those LGBTB certified businesses in the RFP. So sometimes it's immediate like that, where you get invited to the RFP, but as Logan also mentioned, it's not always so near term. and that this might just be the first introduction and, that sales cycle, and this could take some time to build that relationship and get that business. Let's see. Also, I think Cameron mentioned, or Natalie mentioned this before, if you don't get matched with a corporate partner that you were hoping for, it's probably because the corporate partner doesn't have any need for your type of business upcoming. So now that we have our staffing preferred program all set for at least a couple years, I'm not going to meet with any staffing suppliers this year because it's just going to be a waste of your time because there's not an opportunity for a couple years. Next year I will, but this year I'm going to focus my efforts on near-term opportunities for those suppliers. So once I get my matchmaking schedule, I also do a little research on the companies I'm meeting with. I don't like to go blindly into a meeting and have no clue what you do. So I'm going to look into what you guys do and start thinking about where there's opportunities. I also suggest suppliers do the same. So TIAA, we're not as recognized as a consumer brand as, say, Pepsi or Wells Fargo. And it's really frustrating for me when I have to tell someone what business that we're in. I'm always happy to go into the details, but I want these suppliers to know that I am in a financial services company. And I do get questions sometimes at meetings like, okay, TIAA, what do you guys do? And, as long as they know we're in financial services, I'm happy to explain. But when I have to explain to them more financial services, it is a little frustrating. On the other side of things, I'm always very impressed when a supplier has done their research and can offer specific ways that their business can help us and say, we also have a commercial bank. We have a huge real estate portfolio. It's the third largest in the United States. Or as Logan mentioned, maybe tell me how you can help me avoid a pain point. I think that's also very impressive to hear. During the actual meeting, I think it's helpful to have a one-pager or capability statement for me to look at as you're giving your pitch. I'm typically not going to take it home, and we'll just ask you to send it, as a PDF in an email during your follow-up. This does a couple things. It helps reduce paper waste, save the environment. It also helps keep my suitcase light. I got to keep all the room in my suitcase for those goodies at the expo, so I don't want to take home a lot of folders and papers. So if the supplier that I meet with is a good fit and I know that there's an upcoming opportunity, I will always give the supplier the name of the sourcing manager that's leading that RFI or RFP or in charge of that market category. I prefer the supplier follow up with me directly with that one page and a brief overview. That way I can facilitate the introduction. I find that the sourcing manager is more likely to pay attention when that email comes from me and they know that I've met with that supplier first. This could take some time to get back. Usually I try and respond within a couple weeks when a supplier emails me a follow-up email with that information. I'll send it over to the sourcing manager, and depending on what their plate looks like, what other RFPs or negotiations they're currently working on, we can get back to you right away. Sometimes it could take a couple weeks. I always suggest you don't hear from a corporate partner in a couple weeks after meeting with them, send them another follow-up note. Maybe it got lost in the shuffle. It doesn't mean we don't want to talk to you or we don't want to hear from you ever again. Just don't be afraid to be annoying. The loudest baby gets the mother's attention, so don't be afraid to be that person. I personally really enjoy matchmaking meetings, and I think a lot of the other corporate partners do as well. And I get really excited when the companies that I meet with can be a good fit for what our needs are and are included in RFIs, RFPs, and hopefully win the business. I think that's really exciting. And, one of the best benefits of being involved with an organization like NGLCC is getting to meet all the great companies that are trying to grow and become a supplier to us. I really think that what NGLCC is putting together is such a win-win situation. Really, that's all I have. Natalie, do you have any questions, or can I clarify anything?
Yeah, no, so I haven't had any questions come through, but I think you both did an excellent job on a lot of different important topics. I would just highlight doing research before your meetings. My NGLCC is a resource for you as a certified supplier. When you match with Melissa, you can go into the profile on my NGLCC. Their supplier diversity page will be listed on their website. So that's always an excellent first step to even understanding their supplier diversity program. There's a lot at conference, so I know that Matchmakers gets focused on, and there's a lot of anxiety around them. But it really is meant to just get all of our suppliers more information on doing work with our corporate partners. And there's a lot at conference, so we're excited to help everyone prepare for it. But thank you all for being a part of this. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Marjorie and Logan. You all were wonderful. I really appreciate everybody on the call, and I look forward to working with you and seeing you all in Palm Springs.